Thanks for your time again, Darren. First of all, then, midweek game, of course, postponed. How frustrating was it from your point of view to have that game at Weymouth called off?
Well, look, by Monday morning, we had my injury list. Monday morning was Adam Smith, Luke Wilkinson, Morgan Williams, Carl Dickinson, Charlie Lee, Lee Collins, Courtney Doofus. That was the injury list Monday morning. So it might have been frustrating on Sunday. It wasn't frustrating when I found out that injury list on the Monday.
Almost a blessing in disguise in that point of view. How is the squad looking though for this weekend's game?
No, we had Collins out of that group, was the only one that trained Tuesday, but we've got everyone training today aside from Dickinson. So they just needed 2 or 3 days to get over dead legs and knocks and rolled ankles and things like that. So slight strains, but we're good today, which is great news.
Yeah, and obviously so close at Woking to getting that win, wasn't it? But still plenty of positives to bring away from it, despite the frustrating end.
Well, look, a human being made a mistake. It's not going to be the last time someone makes a mistake this year. It's I've never kind of highlighted those things because they're all honest people, and honest people do have off days or off periods or things like that, spells like that. But it was an honest mistake. I thought Morgan played wonderfully well again, and it's just an error of judgment. He could be 21, he could be 33. It happens. The biggest thing for me, I think during time, spells like this, you've got to try and be objective, and the biggest sort of objectivity in my mind is just that when we were 1-0 up, we need to get away from teams. You look at the success of last year, we scored a lot of goals, and that was because when we went 1-0 up, or we got the 1-1, or we got it always in the game, we really drove away by taking chances, and obviously we had more than enough chances in that game to get away, and we've had more than enough chances in all the games. I think we're 7 goals shorter this time from last year than we were last year, and 5 extra goals would have meant probably 5 wins. So that's the bit, that's the objectivity, that's the evidence for me.
Yeah, I mean, you probably don't really care about what live tables look like, but at one point on Saturday when you were leading, the live table had Yeovil up to 15th in the table. But what it does show is how close that table is, doesn't it, in the National League?
Yeah, look, I mean, so many people who have watched us, from other clubs, friends of mine, always say to me it's a false position. I believe it's a false position. It is also the reality of where we are, but look, we'd be really disappointed if we were 10th. We'd be disappointed if we were 15th. We know exactly what we are. We know exactly what we are, what's expected of us, and nothing's changed in my mind as to where we'll finish. So we keep plodding away. I can't, I think when I looked at the injury list Monday, and I look at the demand we're placing on these players, both mentally, the pressure of what we put ourselves under to win every week, but also the physical demand that we're putting ourselves on. We're probably right looking over that cliff now, and if we push too much harder, or too much more, we could see a big casualty list just when we're starting to look better. So I think it's important now. Players relax and know exactly what's expected of them. Spent a solid 3 weeks now making sure everyone understands their roles, what is expected of them, demands, so on and so forth. Everyone's had a chance. There's very few players now that have not had a chance to stake their claim for a place. And there's a lot of encouragement, a lot of positivity, a lot of confidence being installed in their mindset.
Hartlepool next up, coming to Hewish Park on Saturday. What sort of a game are you expecting?
A very tough one. We're not beating them. I think in the 3 games that we played them last year, we didn't beat them. We drew here when Murphy was wrongly sent off. but tough game, really tough game. Good football inside. Ironically, I've got a couple of ex-apprentices playing in the team at the moment, and I know their capabilities and what good young men and good young players they are. It'll be a tough game. Every game's tough. Every game's tough, and we all know it. Kind of, the build up and the pressure does build for the players, but they're a great group of players. Absolutely, I love working with them. They're all strapping and taping themselves up today to get out there to fight another day. So, whilst they've got that attitude, and they'll always have that attitude, I'm fully behind them. Fully behind them.
Yeah, Hartlepool, another one of those big name teams, aren't they, in this league? There's so many of them, of course, aren't they? You'd see them, though, as one of the big clubs in this division.
They've got great fan base. A huge, fan base. Traditionally, a very big club. A bit like ourselves, their supporters will be thinking of days gone by where they were in the higher echelons of English football. And no, it's a really good club. I got my first ever win as a manager there many moons ago. Feels like forever now, but probably just shy of 5 years. I got my first win there as manager of Stevenage, and big club, big club. Had some brilliant managers, had some very, very good players. So it's they're good games. They're good games, and they certainly play football. So it's not going to be. That is brilliant, Aid. That couldn't have happened at a better time. That it was like I thought, these questions are getting a bit serious, and then class. But yeah. So I don't care about the question.
It's all gone out by the wayside now, isn't it?
Just rely on me for the cabaret, don't worry.
Yeah, that's what you need. Unfortunately, I can't see it, so I'm just going by the reaction.
That was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I hope we got that.
Hartlepool, 11th in the table, but they're only 2 points outside the playoff places. But they seem to be playing better away from home. Do you pay attention to that sort of form where they've only played 2 games away from home, but they have got picked up more points away from home than they have at home. Do you read into that sort of form?
I didn't even know that. No, I didn't even know that. I'm
2 wins from 2 away from home, and 6 goals scored, 1 conceded. But it's early days, obviously, isn't it?
Yeah. No, look, it's all those things, all of these kind of new conclusive or conclusions that people are coming to because the supporters are not here. Everyone goes through spells. Hartlepool, Yeovil, Barnet, whoever it is, they'll go through spells where they're not winning at home. They'll go through spells where they're only winning at home. So, if you look at that, if you take that information, you take our information, we've not won a game apart from the cup. Our home record's bad, their away record's good. It's a gimme win for Hartlepool if we're looking at that. Obviously, no one will see it that way because we won't allow that. But it's I think the good thing is about the way Dave's teams play as well is it'll be a game of football. Whereas last week, at Woking was a war of attrition. When you saw 2 teams definitely utilise the conditions, the wind was horrendous. I don't know if people kind of got that, but the wind was bad. But I thought we used it in a different way Woking did, which is completely up to them. But I think Dave's teams would have used it in the similar ways we use it. So no, it should be a good football match. There should be goals, definitely.
Yeah. Good luck, Darren. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks, mate.
Morning, Darren.
That is class, absolute class.
No, I should be going out and beating her around the head.
Listen, most weeks when I'm talking to you lot, I've got about 5 or 6 staff in here just like getting on my nerves and distracting me, and so I know how you feel.
Well, I'm glad we were able to provide a little bit of amusement for the afternoon anyway. Darren, would it be fair to say that from disappointment you can change the word to determination now for Saturday, for the squad's point of view?
They're always determined. Again, let's go back to the injury list. They're not getting injured because they're they're not putting themselves into those positions or those moments where, you know, your attitude may have been called into question. You know, this is a highly motivated group and a very, you know, very strong group of characters, a very tight-knit group. So we're always determined. You know, I do believe we've had to go through a bit of a spell in terms of the last 3 weeks of really redefining everyone's role, everyone's capability. You know, in the last 3 games, it's been weird because we've only conceded 2 goals, but we've only scored the 2 goals. And like I said, the only thing for me would be making sure we get away from teams again, like we did last year. I mean, once we went 1 up last year, it was wave after wave. I do believe the crowd helped that, especially at Hewish. But we need to have that focus. If you're talking about determination and how we apply that, our determination is to win and win well.
One good point that came out of Saturday's game was Matthew Warburton got his first goal for the club. Looked like quite a nice goal. He must have been happy with that.
He's playing really well, Matty. You know, he's really bright. You know, very, very intelligent footballer. You know, you look at Matt's background as a qualified teacher, came out of teaching to be a professional footballer at 26, 27 years old. You know, he's a real good guy to work with. You know, from a coaching perspective, when you're asking things of Matt, you can go into real detail. He really thrives on that analysis of his opponent and the opponents and shapes and systems. He's very much into that. He's a real football man, you know. And he's played very well for us. I mean, you know, all of our play really has gone through Matty so far this year. So he's one of the first names on the team sheet without question. You know, his finish was excellent. Could he have scored more? Of course he could. They all could have. You know, every player. But I've been very impressed with Matthew.
I was going to ask you, do you feel that the Weymouth game, not having it was a plus or a minus? And clearly, what you said for the injury, but it was a plus not having it there.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I've always been told about, you know, since I joined here, I've always been kind of educated in the rivalry of Weymouth and Yeovil. So there's no one looking forward to playing Weymouth more than myself, because, you know, you really feel in those derby games, you really feel the support. You know, you really feel the importance of those results. So we'd have liked to have played it, but I think looking back, it was a good decision. And obviously, from a gentleman's perspective and having some sort of code of conduct or respect for everyone in football at the moment during these times, it was the right thing to do in terms of them coming out of quarantine for the game and having time to prepare.
The injuries must be worrying you. I mean, I know you said that most of them seem to be almost back now, but is there any sort of pattern to why you're getting so many injuries? Is it just bad luck, or pitches dodgy, or what?
There is lots of science. There is. I really don't waste my time with anymore. But look, my opinion is we're pushing these boys are right at the front of the battle, and they're trying to push and break new boundaries, which is great for me. You know, when I look at their attitudes and their commitment to our football club. But at the same time, we've got to make sure that we've got as competitive team as possible playing on a Saturday. So they're just trying their hardest. Some of them are young lads, not played football, you know, a lot in terms of men's football. Some of them are going through that. Some of them are going through having to do it all the time and being right at the front there all the time. So, but it's just part of it. We'll get there. We're working through it, and when there's that wall in front of you, there's no way of running around the wall. You just got to keep running through it as hard as you can for as long as you can and run through it. So, but we'll be fine.
Barnet next week after Hartlepool, and then the FA Cup tie against Stockport on the TV. Is that a plus or a minus in your book?
Well, it's not really on the telly, is it? It's like one of them games where there's kind of 12 games being played at the same time and they kind of flash to you. So it gives us another day. The beauty of it gives us another day of preparation for that game, but it gives us one less for the game after that. So, you know, whichever way you look at it, it's going to be a tough couple of weeks coming up. But we play very well. I mean, if any form you're going to look at for us, it's going to be away from home. And we've not been beaten away from home, and and we've looked strong. So I think they're good games. It allows us to change the timetable a little bit leading up to the game. People are training and doing things on different days at different times. It just freshens everything up. So, but it's going to be the travel and the journeys back, and then playing on the Tuesday night again. I think will be it'll be a big effort from the lads.
And finally, still no sign of the crowds coming back yet. Just how damaging do you feel it is? It's getting worse, or it seems to be anyway.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've no idea when. I always thought January was going to be an absolute gimme, and I've got to be honest. Whereas in the early stages, I took real interest in the place the country was in, the political stance, medically, how what the country looked like medically in terms of positive cases and the amount of people in intensive care and things, but I've switched off from it all. It all got a little bit too much for me, because it is a desperately sad time for so many people. So I still hope it's going to be January. Touch wood, the vaccine kicks in, sooner rather than later, and we can have our fans back for January. But by then I'm still absolutely convinced that in the early stages of next year we're going to be right up there. Absolutely right up there. Still back the players, still back the quality in the group, still back the commitment, still back Terry and I. So it's hopefully we're back in and we're really flying, and then we get that extra push from January onwards, because that's the exciting thing. That's what we all want to talk about. We all want to talk about the journey and what it took to get there, and and how amazing it was. And those journeys are only ever as good as that when you go through sticky periods. So I can't wait to be back up there. I can't wait.
Well, thanks for that, Darren, and good luck on Saturday.
Cheers. Thanks, mate.
Hey, Darren, how you doing?
Yeah, good. You?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. You've touched on this already, but with the lack of goals this year, what's changed? Is it the personnel? Is it the partnerships? Getting used to new partnerships? Is there anything that you can kind of point your finger at?
No, I don't think we had great partnerships last year. When I look at the consistency of what we used, we started the season. I think the first game we had Miles and Reece. Then I think we had Courtney and Reece for a while. Then Reece got injured at Eastleigh, so we had Courtney and Gold. Courtney and maybe someone else before that. Might have changed shape. I can't remember, but I don't look at a partnership and go, that was our partnership last year. Even when I look at Courtney's goal record last year, it was kind of in absence of when Reece played, really, and Murph's goals come when Courtney wasn't fit and available. So I think I don't think there was any sort of consistency, but we always had a forward in particular in form and scoring, and whether Reece took the baton from Courtney or Courtney took it from Reece, we always had that, and we haven't had that. But that happens. They're human beings. They're not robots, and they're we're all at a level. I'm a National League manager, and they're National League players. So if they were scoring a goal a game, they'd be in the Championship, not the National League. So it's that's what it is. But you just keep working through it. Quigley's done really well to get himself fit. Murphy is working so hard, and I know his penalty was rubbish, and he took a bit of a walloping from it, but he's worked so hard. I forgive people who are trying their hardest. I don't forgive people who are not trying their hardest, and I think that's really important. And I still back them all. And the one thing that's been missed out so far is I will have Courtney back in the squad. He won't be fit enough to start the game, but I'll definitely have Courtney back in the squad Saturday.
Obviously, we mentioned Warburton's goal, and you've just mentioned Quigley there. With them now coming into form, is it the case of the new players starting to really gel, and that's going to help going forward?
I think Warburton's been in form. Still, Quigley's still learning what we do. We forget with Quigley, he's 23. He's still a young man. He's been thrown around in his career. Look at his career. Loan here, loan there. He's never really had a home, and we want to give Joe a home, and he's got to perform. Absolutely, it's a performance industry, but Joe's still learning. I love working with Joe. He's been brilliant to work with. And Murphy's been brilliant. Very humble. Knows he needs to do better. Knows that. They're not thick, these people. They're not complete arrogant idiots. They know they've got to do better. But so Charlie Lee should have scored at the back post last week. Charlie Lee shouldn't get away with missing chances. If Murphy's not going to. So it's a team thing. Our defending's been great. I think we look really solid. Worked very, very hard on our organisation, and now we just got to get the balance right at the other end. But last year the key to us was that when we went one up, and then it went back to 1-1, we still had gears in terms of goals and creating chances, and we probably haven't seen us at our best yet with that. But we went through a period like that, I think, in December, January this year, or last year, this year, where we kind of went through that phase. So it can happen at any time, but I'm right behind these lads. They're fantastic people, absolutely fantastic people, and while they're giving their all, and they are, let me tell you, they'll have no problem for me.